Okay, so I'm here in Panama City with Alex, who is from Austria. I met him this morning at the hostel that we're both staying at. And so I just wanted to ask a few questions about what the COVID situation has been like in Austria. And so I just want to start at the beginning. When did you first start hearing about this novel coronavirus?
I think January, February, I heard about it for the first time. And then there were cases in Italy, and I was already saying to my colleagues, okay, this is going to come here and it's going to change everything.
Yeah, because Italy, it was a very, 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 very big deal. Very many images in the media coming out, many deaths. What was that like? Austria is quite close to Italy, eh?
Yeah. No, in the beginning it was just we have like 17 cases of this in Italy, then there were like 5 cases in France or something. And I think actually it spread through Europe through an Austrian skiing resort where a lot of tourists got the virus and brought it home. Because we didn't lock it down, we locked it down 4 days too late, like after it was clear that there was COVID, and they still didn't lock the village. It became an issue when Italy started having a lot of cases. That's the first time where it really became like, oh shit, this is real, with doctors and nurses making calls for everybody to stay at home, and you see pictures of morgues or
So you're seeing in the media a lot of images of Italy of
tired and like healthcare workers who were overloaded.
So were people
making calls for people to stay home so they could do their job.
Were people afraid at that point? To what degree did people were people afraid for their own safety, and to what degree did people think that this was, a political issue is affecting people elsewhere, or
not really a political issue? It was more like, there's hospitals are filling up in Italy with some new virus. This is scary. So it was mainly people were scared from that, which is objectively scary.
Okay.
And then finding our way around it, or finding how to deal.
Okay, so I'm guessing that like in most countries they started to implement lockdown measures in March or April.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I worked at a telecom company. We went into lockdown as the first. It was like, let's try if we can work from home on Thursday and Friday. And then on Monday email came, it worked. We're going to stay in lockdown. We're part of the critical infrastructure because internet needs to keep working in these times.
Okay, so you were working at a telecom company, and then you started to work from home. So what was your experience like personally, and how it affected you?
COVID, or what?
Yes.
Or working from home.
Working from home.
Well, everything that was in the beginning it was cool. You can work in pajamas. You can just get out of bed and just jump into a meeting. After 3-4 months, you start realizing that everything that was fun about work is gone now, like meeting colleagues randomly, making jokes about stuff, talking about what's actually going on with colleagues behind the management facade, so to say.
And at this point, like, were you, how many hours a day were you outside? Were you exercising? Were you able to go to the gym? Were you,
No, gyms were closed pretty quickly, still closed. Everybody had to wear that came later. At some point everybody had to wear this FFP2 mask.
Yeah, that's, so in Austria they brought in masks.
But the FFP2 masks, so the stronger ones, not these, the
cloth ones,
surgical ones, but the full, nothing can come in, nothing can come out. And for some reason the numbers still didn't go down, and it's weird because we had all these lockdown measures, but the numbers kind of stayed stably high.
Okay.
And in summer you could still travel, you could still go, like people were going to Italy, to Croatia on holiday. But
When did it reach its height in Austria? When was the worst?
I need to check statistics, but I think it was
Before the summer?
no, it was after the summer.
Okay, in the
The
fall.
peak was
So-
fall, winter was the real peak.
Okay. And it was there's the same phenomenon in Austria of the flu disappearing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard that.
So would it have the the worst of the COVID kind of coincided with the normal cold and flu season? In fall and winter?
I don't know.
Okay. So how about masks? Like today in Austria, are people wearing masks outside, or is it only inside?
Well, in public transport, in buildings, you kind of have to wear a mask. Also at work.
Okay.
Outside, not. Although they recently changed it that also if you're in the city center, you need to wear a mask.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are outside, yeah, which everybody was pissed about, and they didn't push it further than just a few areas.
Okay, so
But
people
it's
are pissed
there's-
about. So there is some degree of pushback, or
Yeah, there's big demonstrations also.
Okay,
And,
there's big demonstrations. Do you want to
yeah.
speak a little bit about that?
I mean, all the crazy people kind of get together with people who are unhappy about the measures and demonstrate against it. It's kind of funny because you have like very right-wing people and you have very left-wing people and you have like normal people who also aren't happy with it, but then it's hard for them to actually join a protest because it's just being captured by weird speakers and stuff.
Yeah. So the weird speakers. Are you talking about people believe that kind of Bill Gates is kind of microchipping, wants to microchip people, that kind of thing, or is it about depopulation? Are those the kind of, when you say crazy people, is that what you mean? Or?
A few. I feel like, yeah, I don't feel that these people are very constructive because it's more like fear mongering. But they have the right to protest. Sometimes police actually stop the protest because people were too close to each other. But I think in general, it's not like these what you mentioned is not mainstream or anything.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be.
So were there like tens of thousands of people in the streets at any point?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And you feel that movement is growing?
I don't know. I haven't been there for the past 3.5 months anywhere. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. How about money for people who are out of work or
Well,
small businesses?
Yeah. So the main measure was to give companies 90% of the employees' salary if the
Not bad.
employees wouldn't work or would work much less hours. So this is kind of the money went to the companies, and there's been quite a lot of fraud with that as well.
Okay, so instead of giving the money directly to the people, they gave the money to the companies, and
So
then
that
the
they would keep
companies.
the people employed.
Right.
Yeah, which
Okay.
also didn't really happen. Or like a friend of mine got fired or not fired. He resigned from his job, didn't like it, and then later on he had to come back to sign a paper that he was working less hours for 2 months, where he actually was working full time, so that he would they would get the 90% of his salary back. Which I
Okay.
got really pissed about because I think this is quite widespread. Or people fire them anyway afterwards.
Yeah. How about small businesses? How about you said like gyms are all closed? Like
Yeah.
say you're a gym owner
Yeah,
or
but
whatever.
they get their revenue back, like a part of their revenue
Okay.
from the previous year.
So are there a lot of small businesses that are shutting down, or are they mostly able to survive due
Somehow
to
they've been
government?
able to survive, but business owners are kind of getting frustrated because they know it's all bullshit. And
So you say it's all bullshit. Is that your feeling that these measures are bullshit?
no, I just would have wished that the people that got into power through a campaign would be able to do a campaign of like, yo, everybody stays at home for 3 fucking weeks, then and nobody spreads the virus anymore, then this whole thing could be over in 3 weeks. But
Are
instead,
there any political parties who are against the lockdown measures in Austria?
Yeah, they're the usual right wing. Yeah.
Are these marginal political parties, or are they?
Well, they're not really marginal,
No.
but
Okay.
they're like 20%, 15 to 20% of the voters, I guess. Yeah.
So, do you know anybody that's died from COVID?
I know people who had it, even some quite bad cases, like fever for a few weeks, or almost dying, but real deaths.
Did you know these people well?
No. Yeah, one colleague of mine got it.
Okay.
We had a severe case. A friend of a friend also had a very severe case where he and his girlfriend had to go to the hospital.
Okay.
And really like suffer bad.
Okay. And is there a certain percentage of people that are, very, 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 very scared to the point of, it approaching mental illness?
Yeah, everybody's just on the edge in general. People are just getting way more extreme and reacting unpleasantly. And
do you see, is there a strong current of kind of hatred towards people who break the rules, who still have parties or?
There is. There's definitely some judging of that, but yeah, it is splitting society in a way. I mean, in a way I can see that people who are more like left wing, they get a chance to say we are saving other people's lives and we can feel better about ourselves by doing that, by wearing something as simple as a mask. So then they become quite judgmental about
virtue. They call it virtue signaling. Is the
it becomes like this whole thing becomes much about virtue signaling, which is really pissing me off, instead of having a proper dialogue about what could work and what could not work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then within healthcare, have there been doctors and nurses and scientists and researchers who have opposed the government's measures?
There have been, but as far as I could tell, these were not really experts. They're more like some individual doctors than some doctors who got together and some representatives of doctors, but then those representatives were not really
have their voices been included in kind of dialogue in the mainstream media? Because in Canada, basically the government has not allowed any debate around public health.
I don't think so much. No, it's been actually. I mean, there were some initiatives where people, like lawyers, were saying this is unconstitutional, and then the Constitutional Court actually ruled that the whole lockdown of the hospitality sector was illegal.
Okay, what happened then?
I think the government found a way around it.
Same
in the Netherlands, they also ruled that the measures the curfew is not legal because it's not proven to work.
Yeah.
And then the government just found a way around it and was pushing people. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's something. Basically, constitutional rights don't exist in Canada right now. It's basically arbitrary rule. Like, for instance, they arrested and imprisoned a pastor for having church services, and then they seized the church and put a big fence around it. So this is very illegal and for a bunch of different reasons. But basically, the state has given itself emergency powers. Would it be fair to say that that's also the case in Austria?
Yeah, I think people who are actually impacted by this would agree to that, like the measures.
How about religion? How about are people allowed to have church services?
Less. There were some restrictions there as well. Restrictions everywhere.
Were people allowed at all? Were they allowed if they were wearing masks on and like
masks on?
5? And how many people? 5?
I don't know,
10, 25, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much. Okay.